What's up guys, Azura here, and today we are here to take a look at a set 8 deck. The deck that really showed up, that really set itself apart as like the quote-unquote good deck from set 8. We're going to take a look at Prism today. This deck actually had a pretty good showing in the most recent CS. People think this deck is really good, some people think it's even tier 1. Personally, I think this deck is in a solid tier 2 deck at best. Highly competitive, I like to put it that way, but regardless, I think this deck is pretty solid. It's okay, has some okay things going for it, but without further ado, we'll just take a look at the list now and go over all the cards as per usual. So it's pretty standard. I think this list is relatively standard. I think not a whole lot of variation. A lot of it just comes down to ratio to what they play, but yeah, this is what I personally play. So starter of choice for me is the Akari. First skill is Harmony, and the GB1 is units in Harmony. You can put it to soul, bounce another unit, and draw one. So pretty cool as anti-retire 2, 5k booster. Just probably the most versatile starter for all of Bermuda. This has been Bermuda starter ever since it came out back in set 2, and we still play it. Although in this deck you can definitely make an argument to play Shizuku instead of the Grade 3 Searcher, because this deck really does want to find the Breakride, because yes, this is a Breakride deck. So there's that. You could play Grade 3 Searcher, but I personally think Akari is a little bit better. As for Grade 1s, we're playing one of the, I think her name is Clear. When bounce to hand, soul loss 1 for plus 4k. This can help you kind of scale your lanes better. I just don't know what else to play in this slot. I think the other slot things that people were playing was like 10k attack, the Prism 10k attacker, whatever you want to play. I think this one slot makes that big of a difference. For the duo PG, something you know, it also has Prism name, so it's a Prism and a duo, so relevant for that. It does have Prism name, but it's mainly played because it has duo name for the Roan, so that's that. 4 Stride Fodder, because that still needs a Stride even though it is a Breakride deck. And then 4 of the most important Grade 1 in the deck is the Late, I think is her name. Her skill is when bounced to hand, if your Vanguard is a Prism, you countercharge 1 and give one of your units plus 5k. And then during your turn, you can no longer normal call any more copies of her from her hand. You can superior call her. So once you bounce her once and you use the skill, you can no longer call her from hand. Just from normally playing it, but you can call her using a skill to call her. So this card is important because 1, it's your CC engine, 2, it scales your columns, but this card is part of like the really strong turn 2 this deck has that sets it apart from every other fish deck right now, is that you can go in conjunction with this new Grade 2, which I'll just talk about right now because you do need to know a skill of what this does, but I think it'll be pretty apparent once you know what the skill is. It's I think she's the shadow her name. Vert, I think? No, that's not Vert. Celtic. Her skill is Vanguard Rear. On hit, if your Vanguard's a Prism, you can CB1 to bounce a card to draw 1. So, if you don't know the interaction here, I think it's pretty easy to tell. You ride her, you call her or something, you hit with her, CB1, you bounce the Late back to hand, Late skill activates, you CC1, so you unflip the cost you paid there, and you give 5k to the other side so you can scale for 2 damage. So, this is just really good early aggression. Lets you scale your lanes early, lets you draw some cards back, pretty nice, and gets the card on the board back to your hand so they don't die to anything. So this little combo here, although it doesn't seem like much, like I think these two make this deck good compared to like the other fish decks. This like early aggro engine with the Celtic Late is just really powerful, and I think this is honestly the reason to play this deck at all whatsoever. So very important Grade 2. Other Grade 2s, you're still playing 3 speed. I personally choose to go with 3-3-3. So I play Spica because Spica is still pretty important as your finisher. Even if killing from 4 is kind of awkward this deck, Spica is very awkward killing from 4, but you need her sometimes to close the game out if you just need that one extra push. And I think the Spica is good enough that you want to play the Spica for that reason. Is that sometimes your kill turn just isn't enough. Like Olivia by herself just isn't enough. Sometimes you still have to go into Olivia. The Spica gives the little extra push that you need to end the game, so I think that's why I still play Spica. But this deck does value pieces early, and because Spica doesn't do anything early, I don't want to like max out on it as like some other people. So I personally choose to play like a 3-3-3 split instead for the Grade 2s. And speaking of the Grade 2s, we play 3 Roans and 3 Quancy. Quancy is here to facilitate the Roan so that you have more than just PGs to dupe, and I think the Quancy is the best choice for this, so that's why I choose to play Quancy. Quancy is resist, and then when bouncing hand, soul loss 1, CB1 to draw 1, and Roan is on hit, but bounce to do it and dupe it. So because I'm playing Roan, I think I want at least one intercept that I can dupe, and I think Quancy is the best one. It's either her or Pepper, and I think Quancy's a better card, so that's why I choose to play the 3 Quancy to facilitate the 3 Roans that also can dupe PG. So yeah, that's it for the grade 2s, and finally grade 3s or the triggers. 4 Heal Guards. For Vert, the Breakride, this is your primary ride. Her skill is Limerick 4, Breakride, plus 10, draw 1 on Breakride, and then you gain the following skill. The unit that ride on it gains the following skill when using it attacks. You can choose 2 cards and bounce them to your hand, and you have 4 more readers plus 3k. So you want to sit on this because the whole gimmick or the whole combo of this deck is you sit on Breakride, you go to the Vert Stride, or you swing, and then you unstride, and you Breakride something from your deck or your hand, and then blah blah blah, you do your Breakride combo after swinging Vanguard already. So that's that. Your main Breakride target is Labrador. I personally like Garnet, being this card, but my issue with Garnet is that she can only call, well, I guess over Labrador first. Her skill is, when using attacks, you can call up to 3 cards from your hand. If you call 3 Prisms, it gets plus 10 in a crit. So, the reason, this card gains a bonus for calling Prisms. However, you don't need to call Prisms to do its effects, to get all its effects. So that's personally why I choose to play this over Garnet, because Garnet needs to, call only Prisms, and I think the Prism grade 2s are all pretty whatever. As you can see, the only one I'm playing is the Celtic. I think the only other considerable one you could play is probably the 12k, but if it's just those cards, I think it's better off just to play the Labrador, so you can use to call stuff like Speak Out to further extend your kill combo. So there's that, and then the one Garnet, same skill as unit attacks, you can call 3 Prisms from hand, and then Limerick 5, she gets a drive and you draw 1, and then the real reason why I like Garnet is because of his last skill. When something is bounced to hand, I think you can give something plus 5k. Let your combo scale better. I think that's pretty worthwhile for other cards, yeah. But because this card is locked to only calling Garnets, I haven't played one of it because I don't play too many Prism grade 2s in my deck. So yeah. So that's it for the main deck. G Zone. For Olivia. Olivia is still a very versatile finisher. Still an okay finisher. Her skill is unit attacks, GB2, CB1, G Flip. Bounce any number of cards with different names from your board to your hand. If you bounce 3 or more different names, you can call 2, 1 to the front, 1 to the back, and she gets a crit. So, still okay finisher. Not the best anymore. I think feels very outdated now in my opinion, but it still gets the job done sometimes when you need to, and still pretty okay with in conjunction with Speaka. So, for Olivia's, for Nectaria's, her skill is most people know her for the Roan skill when the duo deck where you bounce a card and dupe it, but in this deck it is a Somni skill, because if you didn't know, this card is a Prism duo, and this card gains skill depending on the heart of your Vanguard. Every time before this it was used in a duo deck, so always duped, but when you use it in a Prism deck, its skill is when you use an attack hits a Vanguard, you can bounce a card to hand and call it back down and it gets plus 5. So it is a Somni, but it scales better because you can make straight up 21 with it, and as opposed to Somni. So she is your new, she's your main push for Stride, so that's why I play 2 of it. And then next up, I play 4 of the Prism Labrador. So her skill is once per turn, if your heart is a Prism, G flips, draw 1 and give 2 units plus 5k, and the ability as any of unit attacked or boosted, bounce back to hand. So this card, oh yeah, and on play you can put a Labrador and 2 other names back to the bottom of your deck. I don't remember what these are, but Labrador's a relevant one because if you check too many of the grade 3 Labradors, you need to put them back in your deck, and this card lets you do that. So very nice there. But the reason I choose to play 4 of it is because this card is one of your main outs to Jingle Thuria, because this pumps your rear columns and you have to hit into them, which is pretty good. But and lets you bounce it back to hand, so it can dodge annoying matches like Hogger and stuff like that, where they want to retire your board. So that's why I play 4 of it, and Fish Anshi doesn't have that much anything better to play anyways. So for this, and then finally we play 2 of the Sunshine Vert. Her skill is Limerick 4. If your heart is a Prism, when the student attacks, if your heart is a Prism, it gains the following ability at the end of the battle that attacked. G Flip, discard 3, and bounce up to 2 Prisms to hand, and then choose a Prism unit, choose a grade 3 Prism from your deck or your hand and ride it as your Vanguard and draw 2. And then on play she puts names back to the deck. I remember Vert is one of them. I think Celtic or Late is the other one, and then something else for the other one. But the skill, I don't remember the exact wording on the skill, but basically what you do is you swing with it. You pay cost of G flip and discard 3, and bounce up to 2 Prism names on your board back to your hand, and you choose a Prism from either your deck or your hand. You ride it, and you draw 2. Grade 3 Prism. So this like I said, for the whole combo is like you're on Breakride, you stride into Sunshine Vert, you swing, and with Vert, and then you like reset your board. You then you ride Labrador, you call back stuff back down onto your board, and you swing multiple times again. So that's the whole combo with this deck. The only issue with this is you're drawing so many cards with this. You are actually risking deck out a lot of the time, which is kind of annoying. But I think it's a very potent kill turn. But other than that, I think this deck is okay at best. I think that's okay at best. But I have this deck really cool. Very strong early game. Sunshine Vert is pretty cool, and yeah, not too much. I'm personally not the biggest. I'm not personally too impressed with this deck personally. So yeah. So I'll have some games for you guys after this, as per usual. Tell me what you guys think about this deck down below in the comments. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.